So you found it, the soul of connection. If you're succeeding at everything except the relationships that matter most, this is for you. I'm Tressie Yanakawa, brain science, no fluff, real change.
Zara, I'm so happy to be here with you today because you are the whole thing, the whole enchilada, as we like to say. You do so many things and you've had so many highly focused interests, and being a lawyer is but one. So welcome to the Soul of Connection. I can't wait to talk about connection and relationships with you. Can you give me the full pronunciation of your name so we all have it right?
Zara Zeringue.
Zara Zeringue. And earlier, my producer had said it's like meringue, and now I'll never get that out of my head.
Yes, I've had to spell my name a lot in my life. First name, last name. But thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And I want to hop right in with the lawyering I want to get to, but the focus of the human, the focus of being you right now. How did you become you to then become a lawyer who really goes above and beyond?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. Let's just sort of start with childhood. I mean, I am 4. Okay, so being the youngest of 4 gives the advantage of watching how other people relate. And that is really, I guess, where my education began. And being a, my, I guess, disposition is mostly calm and agreeable. However, I obviously have the litigation side and can bring in the Aries fire. I like to say I'm an Aries. And so I have used that example with people that consult with me. And then at the end of the consult, they wonder and ask, which I'm always happy for the question, like, okay, well, you seem so calm and cool and nice. And so how is that going to translate to representing me? And my go-to response was always, well, I have siblings, so I know how to fight. That's your first, entry into the world. It's how to navigate that. So,
yeah, and so you also though studied some, like I would call them maybe new age esoteric. You've done some other things in the world. I have met a lot of lawyers, and there are many people who are lawyers who also have interest in those things. But a lot of times we think of lawyers, right? That's the stereotype, is not someone who is a personal growth seeker. So where did that come in for you?
So when I was in law school, first year in law school, I had been dating someone for a long time, was engaged actually, and was starting to figure out that this wasn't right for me. So I was kind of in a confused state. So someone offered me the opportunity for some personal development education. And that, was in 91. So that's kind of when that started. And I don't use the term new age anymore because I feel like this is the age. Like it ain't new. Stuff that I was distinctions studying in the 90s are commonplace now. Well, I guess in the communities that I operate in, and so that just gives me a lot of joy that people are interested in personal development, and I really do just get grounded and finding their way, in the world through that, because it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. I always call it 10,000-year-old technology that we're just using in modern times. And we can package it in all kinds of ways. But it's really the truth. It's when we get down to it. So yeah, those labels are really interesting, but the practices work, I think, and that perspective works, especially in advocacy. And you would call yourself an advocate.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, a lot of people that come, when they come to see me, of course, they're having, a very difficult time in their life. They're in crisis. And it's difficult to kind of know what choice to make, what's right for that person. So really, I see the main part of my job is really not even in the courtroom. It's getting familiar with the client and helping them and guiding them through such a difficult process. And, I hold my relationship with them, as an honor to be a part of their process. And, they, allow me to speak, more freely to them, which is one of the things I do like about being a lawyer as opposed to a therapist. Of course, I loved studying psychology, but, being a lawyer gives me permission to kind of interrupt people, which I ask permission anyway, but interrupt people and, offer alternative interpretations of things.
I love that. Yeah, I'm not a therapist either. My background is in neuroscience for cognition. And so everything I do comes from how our brain does patterns and how we don't need to keep living a pattern that doesn't serve us or is actually wrong. And when you talk about having been engaged in college, right? So so you're working on your law degree and you're figuring out that this isn't the right person. I'm curious, what were the signs for you?
Okay. Well, this was a big sign that I ignored for a long time. My fiance at the time, his friend got a kitten and they went to the beach. So I kept the kitten while they were at the beach. While they were away, I went and got a sibling of that, from the litter and got the cat. And somewhere in my back of my mind, I was like, kind of consciously thought, well, this is going to help me, like keep me company, the cat, when I break up. But like, I just suppressed that, it just kind of went, wee, let's pick the kitten. And then whoop, went right away.
Fascinating. So that was an indicator, but you didn't pay attention to it.
No, not really. So
yeah. It's so fascinating, right? How we're comfortable enough. It's fine. It's fine. I've done it's fine more than my share, I think, too. So, when you're working with people and specifically what kind of law do you practice?
I do mostly family law. I do succession work and estate planning and some personal injury too.
And, and those are the reasons that I was really excited to talk with you, because you engage with people who have done the patterns to the point of no return. Right. And so now they end up in the legal system because of how those patterns have been maintained, held, or made worse over time. So what do you see when somebody first comes to you, when a couple first comes to you on the family side? What do you first notice is the problem? What are they trying to solve?
Well, definitely I use the for all the time of doing a dance, that the couple is doing a dance and they're both, entrenched in it, habituated to it, blind to it. And so I tell them, because I'm also try to emphasize empowerment, and because we can't control the choices of another person. So I always tell them, you need to focus on yourself and you change the dance, because if you're dancing with someone and you change the dance, inevitably the other person,
Yeah.
that's just a natural byproduct.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they come to you, they're pretty set on, is it divorce that they're coming for? Is it, what are they hiring you for?
Yes, I mean, mostly divorce, but also, custody, children, how to deal, with that. And the other thing that strikes me a lot when I'm talking to people is, if their spouse or their partner has acted poorly and there's a lot of trust issues, they've been lied to, they've been deceived, the person inevitably continues, and this probably gets into your neuroscience, because they inevitably continue to share with me information that they got from the spouse that they can't trust. And so I think it must be a naturally human thing to do, just to want to continue to, I guess, believe, even in the face of, but I constantly remind them, you're telling me this, but the source of your information is from the person that did X, Y, and Z. So it's not reliable. Can you give me an independent source for that information?
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I adopted my 3 daughters. Well, we adopted each other. They were 7, 9, and 11 from the foster system. And they had stories about their birth mom being like a mermaid, and her voice was beautiful, and she was like, everything about her was perfect, and it was heartbreaking to me when they re-engaged with their birth mom and learned that, they had been in the system for a reason, for many reasons. I wanted it to be different for them too, but they desperately, wanted to believe that birth mom was all those things. And what I would tell them was, she had amazing goodness in her to bring you guys through, and I'm grateful for that. And we're not responsible for any of the other things, the choices that she made. But it's hard. I think we want to believe that our person is still or can still be our person, even through great neglect or abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's a wild ride in this human form, I think. And I think a lot of people haven't gotten clear about what they require
Mm-hmm.
for their own happiness.
Yes, that is very true, I think. And, over time, I've seen clients, their demeanor changes, they develop some more calmness. And a lot of it is through change of their speech.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a big, promoter of that, of like paying attention to the language that you use, the pace of your speech, and, I've studied, linguistics, and I was an English major and all that, but I also more recently became a certified yoga instructor. So, I ground my clients, which I was doing before I became certified for yoga, but I ground them. I make sure that they feet on the ground, they uncross their legs, they sit up tall, they breathe. I force them to stop talking. And that, to me, like, is a way to intervene on the automatic without having a intellectual discussion about it, I guess, because, and it's hard for people because they want to be like, I'm like, huh? No.
Yeah, I think, we use words as shields, as protection a lot of time. And yeah, one of the things that I'm curious about, because you do have this background in personal development and yoga and in all of these things as an attorney, what is something about the family law system that you would change if you could?
Well, a lot. It is, something that kind of evolves very slowly. Justice is very slow resolution, and it's crazy expensive. And sometimes, you just don't get justice in the room. It just doesn't happen. And the reason why is kind of, it's apparent. You have a person, the judge, and they just have such a limited opportunity to hear about the case. And they're making decisions about someone's family and their children on just a limited basis, which is, just the design. It's just the design of the system that we're in. And they do the best that they can, with that. So, it's very difficult in that regard, and to have clients understand that the window of opportunity is so small. You're so much better off trying to come to an agreement yourself. But there's always, I'd say, I don't know, 8% of the people that go through the system that they just got somebody on the other side that is not going to cooperate.
It's so hard. When I think about joyful occupations, lawyering is not in my top 10, probably. What brings you great joy? What in your life brings you great joy?
Related to the law field or outside law field?
Just anything. Where do you resource and nourish yourself with?
Okay. Yeah, so I try to create, and I have created small rituals or habits that give me the opportunity to pause and process everything. Being in the family law environment is extremely stressful. It's heartbreaking. I have, one day just wrote down a short list of all the severe issues that I had dealt with in 1 week. And then, followed up with all the things that give me joy or have given me joy. And I'm not the type of person who is going to come home and share any of that with my loved ones. It's difficult for me to share because it's so big, and I don't want to affect someone in that way. I really don't. So it can be, that's why I think sometimes lawyers hang out with lawyers, because there's just a commonality that we don't want to dump on other people in that way. Nor do they want to be dumped upon. So, but yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. So one thing I do, I have a son, he's going to be 28. He gave me for Christmas this Vortex water swirl jar. Okay, so it's a vessel, and I fill it with water and put it on the Vortex, let it spin, and then I put it in a jug, keep it outside the refrigerator, and I drink from it. So, there's really no reason to do all that. I could just walk up to the refrigerator and get water from the dispenser. But to me, it's just sitting there waiting for the vessel to fill. I just concentrate on that and just be present with that.
Yeah, it's a ritual ceremony. Yeah. It's intention. It's just intention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find joy in the small things, in every day. So important for our mental health, and Do you do other activities outside of work that you're passionate about that you can let work, like fall off your shoulders for a few hours?
Well, I do like to travel a lot. So, I like to, plan the traveling and, have something to look forward to and to get away and in that regard. I also do a lot of journaling and writing, and that, helps me tremendously and is a vehicle to kind of get out of the lawyer.
Right. What does journaling and writing do for you? It's because it's a powerful tool.
Yes, it allows me to kind of notice things that I otherwise would not have, or very small. It makes me notice more the extraordinary and the ordinary.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love that. One of the ways I ask couples and parents to do that, one of the small ways is, how I love you or love you is a pass through. Like, okay, love you, have a great day. I ask people to say, I love you right now because you,
Oh, nice.
and then fill in the blanks. It's kind of like micro journaling for me, that, just noticing. And when I first started doing that with my partner and with my kids, it was hard. Like, why do I love you right now? Like, what's a reason? But when we orient to that intention and that full presence, I don't like the word vulnerability, I like the word presence because I think it's more accurate. But when we get really present like that, like we do in that journaling, we're just like laying it all out. When we're noticing, we're closer, right? There's more traction in the commitment of being here.
Yes.
So what is a way that you want to change the world? Like, if you were just gonna go live on Mars tomorrow, what would you want to reverberate here?
Well, I'm going to just, the first thing that popped to my head is, I guess, people knowing and understanding that what they do affects the world at large.
Say more.
Yeah, if people like understood that and believed in that, you know, I think that would go a really long way. Um, it would certainly create, I think, a lot more empathy and compassion in the world.
So give me an example from your experience or your life. So if I show up in this way in this place, what's the possibility?
Well, we hear stories all the time about how one person, affects change, and there's just so many examples, just all over. But sometimes we just don't own that for ourselves, you know.
I think we hear a lot of the negative, the way people negatively impact
Mm-hmm.
other people. Um, so what should we intend? What's the focus if we want to have positive impact? And a lot of people don't think that their lives are meaningful. There are a lot of people, base their worth on how many followers they have, or like, just crazy stuff. So how can we help people orient to the intention of living their lives in a way that can impact people?
Oh, well, I mean, first thing that pops to my head is, uh, finding self worth.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the base places to start,
Yeah.
because if you, let's say, the stories you hear about, well, if, someone smiles at me today, then, that will carry me through for another day. And we hear stories of that, and it's real for people. So, believing that your smile will help someone else,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
It's you have
absolutely.
to believe, in yourself for that to happen.
It's very true. In 30 years of my work, the number one cause of conflict and discord and a lack of connection has consistently been self-worth at every socioeconomic level, at every level of what we would consider success. And I think it would be surprising for a lot of people to hear that um, self-worth and that the practice of self-worth can be as simple as being intentional with your water. Like we were talking about earlier, being intentional and loving and caring about something for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
honoring your worth and your value in any small way.
Yep, it's a practice. Life is a practice, right?
Life is a practice. Life is a practice, and it should be a practice. And we're here to have the experience of life. And when you see, like when I worked in hospitals and rehab and burn units and things like that, in the way long ago past, sometimes you think that's all that exists. I worked in hospice for a while and memory care for a while, and I started to think that that's inevitable. Or when I worked in rehab for kids, I believed that that was just how the world was made. That more kids would need rehab services than not, because that's what I was ensconced in. And so you being an attorney around families who are constantly not doing well, who are in conflict, who have trauma, who all of those things. Um, it's interesting to know that there are ways that you use to make sure there's still sunlight.
Yeah, well, it definitely, taints my point of view. I am definitely have been impacted uh, by it, by, seeing so much conflict. Um, I recently got engaged, so that is pretty mind blowing for myself and others around me.
Oh,
Um,
why?
given my just given my profession and everything I've seen, but there you go. Why
So,
not?
so the truth is, you see all of this dissolution, right? You see all of this discord, and you still believe.
I guess I'm a romantic at heart.
I love that. Maybe all be lovers and not fighters. Yeah, I love that so much. And what are your intentions? I mean, we talk about hopes, but what are your intentions for your union?
Oh, yes. Well, we're both 58 years old. So, we want to build together and just enjoy life and simple things. Um, and, have that partnership, that we've both longed for, do our
Uh,
best.
I love that. Congratulations to both of you for not only finding it, but intentionally realizing it and practicing that relationship. Because that's a whole other level of personal work if you're doing it
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Well, for both of us, it took the right person. So it had to
Yeah.
be somebody that was intentional about living.
I love that so much. And what a great place to wrap things up. If there's a wish that you could like blow onto how you're going to navigate with this person until the end of days, right? What's that wish?
Mm. The wish is that we always come with intention to recognize the person as a loving being, no matter what action might be upsetting or disturbing in the moment, because it's the relationship and the love is so much bigger than any moment of not taking the trash out or whatever it is, or even more, things. But it's just having that commitment to focus on the bigger picture.
I love that. And the bigger picture for me when I'm working with couples is if we can just take a breath, that pause, right? That moment to disrupt what the pattern might look like or what the trigger might look like, and be able to say, I love you. I know on the other side of this, we're going to love each other. And I promise that I'm not going to say anything in this conversation that's going to be harmful to you or to me or to us. I think that can go a long way when we're walking through conflict, because there will be conflict, you know? But yeah, I love how you do your work. I love how you do your life. I love that you are partnered and that you have this other whole aspect that helps you transcend the breakings of what happens to humans in the work that you do. And thank you for approaching with your work from that perspective. I appreciate you in the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you as well. You're doing great work.
Thank you, Zara. And where can people find you? How can people work with you when they need you?
My website is lawyerincovington.com. And you can put in my name. So
Yeah, it's a very
my
unique
name
name.
is pretty unique. So
You will find Zara if you put in her name. And where are you licensed to practice?
in Louisiana.
In Louisiana. Okay. So if you're in Louisiana and out in the world, thank you for being a yoga teacher and living that life, the yoga life. It's a good one.
It sure is.
All right, everybody find Zara. Let us know if you have any comments or questions. We'll make sure that Zara gets them. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
You dove in. This is the Soul of Connection. Subscribe now. Stay close. Your full life depends on it.